Oh my god.
You can, yeah, show them the Twitch chat or something.
Show them themselves?
Yeah.
Usually mod people from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you need a mod?
I just put it in the chat. I have a weird name. It's like Hazard.
Can you mod him? Too loud?
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Ah! Come here. Oh my god.
You can scroll up and then it won't move so much. But if you're at the bottom, then it moves. How about audio? Can people on the Twitch live stream hear me talk? This is a 1-2 test. 1-2 1-2. Test 1-2. Can people on Twitch chat hear me? Twitch chat. Testing Twitch chat audio. 1-2 1-2. We can boost it if it's needed. Huh? They said yes?
Oh, no. I'm talking.
Oh, those are good?
How is the audio? Do we even have audio activating? Yes, audio is activating. Okay.
Okay, we heard yeses.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Excellent.
you. We are almost go. Probably 2 minutes. Probably 2 minutes until we start. What an exciting day. Today is a good day.
I really like this.
It's
this
cool,
effect
huh?
here. It's nice.
Why didn't you add me to friends? Kylanto. Everyone's my friend. That's the
It's
thing.
a little bit quiet.
Nah. We're gonna shout later. It's fine. Right now we're using indoor voices.
Yeah.
But in a minute it's gonna be crazy. So then we'll shout at that time.
What did he use? Oh, which one?
This track is gonna complete in like 2 minutes and then we'll get started. We'll give a welcome, then we'll do specs.
Yeah, okay. It's his future career.
Yeah. I don't know if it's repeating or what, but I think it should end in a minute.
No, it's not repeating.
Yeah, I think it's gonna end in a minute.
That OBS screen. Should we even use the server? Yes, you should. People are almost done coming in now.
All right, everybody, welcome to Battle Code 2017. Woo! Oh man, it is so good to be back at doing Battle Code. I'm up here with Jessica. Together we're gonna sort of like tag team it. We got James, we got all the devs working so hard to bring you Battle Code, and we are excited to show you today's game, this year's game. So anyway, if you feel like it's too cold outside or whatever, you don't have to show up. If you don't want, free food, you don't have to show up. You can watch from home. So I'm here on the Twitch live stream. Shout out to everybody watching online. There's 2,000 contestants this year. Is that right? Oh my goodness. It is going to be such a competitive year, but it's going to be a fun year because we've got great new matchmaking services that'll pit you against skill-matched opponents.
We don't have that yet.
I'm saying it like we have it in the sense that we will have it, is my point. And that's part of what's going to make this year fun.
Yep, we've implemented some very interesting changes to this year's game. We think you guys will definitely enjoy it.
So I guess we'll get started.
We will get started talking to you about the 2017 Battle Code game.
So some of you may not have done Battle Code before. It changes every year, right? Oh my God, my own voice is feeding back. It changes every year, right? So that if you have code from last year, it won't work this year, and that's especially true this year.
Mm-hmm. This year we have made changes to the game that will probably make a big difference in the way your robots navigate around the map. If any of you have seen previous years or competed before, you'll have to reconsider the way all of your units relate spatially to each other. Because this year we do not have a discrete map anymore. Our map is going to be in continuous space.
Continuous space! Amazing! Amazing. Just think of the possibilities. You could have your robots more easily spell out the letters GG to BM your opponent. Because now the robots can be anywhere.
Nobody's actually done that in the past, but if anyone manages to successfully implement it, that would be pretty impressive. So nobody has done that in the past.
No, they
right?
have.
No, they have.
Yeah, that was a major strategy. You BM your opponent to death.
Okay. We'll have to see how popular that strategy is this year. So, to begin with this year's specs and the plot of this year's game, we are starting after last year's game, which, as all of you may or may not know, had to do with zombies. The zombie apocalypse ended as of last year, thanks to all of your wonderful efforts and the efforts of our competitors last year, and now we are currently trying to restore the destroyed ecosystem of the planet. And so this year you are all going to be gardeners, and you'll be focused on saving the environment by planting trees.
Yeah, you know, this is like that year where you had a bunch of cows that you had to herd and then you milked them. It's like that, only slightly less pastoral.
So, in this year's game, your focus will be on planting trees and farming victory points. The condition for winning is very simple. The first team who either acquires 1,000 victory points or the first team who annihilates all the enemy units is going to be the winner. And you'll have to decide whether you want to use your store of bullets in order to get victory points or in order to viciously attack your opponent.
It's sort of cool, in my opinion, that we can use these bullets both as a currency and as a ammunition. I think that's a really cool aspect of it, and it sort of makes the game simple yet complex at the same time.
You can think of this as a very simple morality system, kind of like in many games, and also like in many games, it has almost zero effect on the ending of the game. You win one way or another. So, if for those of you who aren't familiar with Battlecode, we'll just do a quick run through with how the game tends to work. Battlecode competition, your team is going to be composed of multiple types of robot units, which you control by writing player code that runs autonomously. Different units have different properties, and they'll move around the map. They can move, they can communicate with each other, they can attack, etc. The game is based on alternating rounds, so first it'll be your team's turn, then it'll be the other team's turn. During your round, each of your robots gets a turn. So every single one of your robots will compute code and perform actions once per round, and then it'll be the opponent's turn, every single one of their robots will, etc. The actions, the computations that an individual one of your robots makes are measured in terms of byte code, which is a standardized unit for the complexity of the computation that they're undertaking, and that is capped. So that means that you can't run a neural network on your bots during one turn. It probably won't work that well. You're going to be first to work with this limitation and try to develop clever ways to get around it and maximize your robot's behavior.
It's pretty exciting. This year we've delved deep into the code, all of its arcane mysteries, to try to make it even more balanced than in the past. So now you have the advantage that if you initialize an array, then you are penalized according to the size of the array, which was a big technological improvement, and we should all be very thankful to James and others for managing to pull this one through. You know, it's a small change, but the balance and determinism of Java and its implementation that we've set up is part of what makes Battlecode fair, and fairness is part of fun.
Of course. Robots have all the properties that you would kind of expect them to have. They're going to have hit points. So when a robot runs out of hit points, it is in fact dead and vanishes from the game. Robots have an ID, so you can keep track of them. It's worth to keep in mind, if you're not familiar with Battlecode, robots each run on a separate JVM. So that means that their static variables aren't going to be shared between one robot and the next. This sort of makes it easier to determine a robot's behavior, that sort of thing.
And it also means that you're required, if you want your team of robots to act as a whole, to act in concert and have synergy, then they have to communicate to one another using the bytecode message array. They can't just share variables and data like that. No, it's like supposed to be a real simulation of teamwork. And so it's like in multiple levels. There's teamwork in the group level of your teams of 1 to 4, and then there's teamwork at the level of robots, so you can have all kinds of team fail going on at the same time.
Yes, it's important to keep in mind that your robots are going to be, unless they're using the messaging array, they will have no idea what the other robots are doing on your team. So you can pretty effectively manage to sabotage yourself, and in fact, maybe even more effectively this year. We'll get onto that. So space is going to be continuous this year. Robots aren't gridded into a particular square. They have a location which is defined by floating points on an XY grid. We've given you some information on how to actually determine what the location, which direction your axes flow, that sort of thing. Robots are going to be circular, so they'll have a center location and they'll have a radius, and they obviously cannot collide with anything within that radius. They're going to be an actual object in this world, so they can't overlap with each other, that sort of thing.
It's not that we have a particular affinity for circles, it's just that it makes the collision computations a little easier to manage.
No, as a physicist, I have an affinity for circles.
Oh, my mistake. Yes,
Circles and
absolutely. Circles and spheres are the way to go. And I think our robots are going to be designed as circles, not only because of the collision reason, but for that reason as well, because they're clearly better.
Yes, objectively a better shape.
Now that said, the sprites for the robots are not circular. So this is like in Street Fighter where you have to memorize the hitboxes, and they're not the same as the sprites. Just deal with it. It's part of the aesthetic.
Hitboxes may be slightly misleading. So make sure that you're actually checking the size of your robots and not attempting to eyeball your code. So radiuses, robots will have a position, radius, distances will then be measured from that radius.
And that's another big difference this year. In previous years, we've measured distance in square units to try to save on bytecode and such like that. So we'll report, for example, the sight radius or attack radius as in distance squared units, but now they're just in distance units. So we're going back to Euclidean distance, and we're making things simple.
Hopefully you guys will enjoy this. We'll find out one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start the game, there will be some units already on the map. We'll have some neutral trees on the map, and we'll get on to what trees do in a moment. And each team will start with an equal number of archons, which are equivalent to headquarters, and we'll talk about different units in a minute. Maps will be symmetric, reflection or rotation. And the combat mechanism theme for this year is going to be bullet hell, which I'm sure you all are really excited for. Unlike in previous years, you can't just order your robot to attack any enemy unit that was in range. You will actually fire a projectile, which will move with a set velocity and direction, and it will damage anything it hits, which means that if you fire at your fellow robot, you will damage your fellow robot.
And even for some of the robots, if you fire in the same direction that you're moving, it's possible to hit the bullet that you just shot out and be damaged by it.
In a few cases, if you happen to be speedier than your bullet, you will manage to shoot yourself.
It doesn't happen in real life, so it's not intuitive. But it happens to robots, so you need to worry about it.
Robots can be faster than bullets. It's just a fact of nature. Yes, you'll be firing bullets. Bullets are effectively non-denominational. They don't belong, you fired it, but it's the same to you and your enemy. They go in a straight line. You can't control them whatsoever. It's like pressing the launch button, it's gone. And so your goal will be to hit your enemies with your bullets instead.
One of the things that excites me so much about this bullet mechanic is that I feel like if the opponent has this big mass of units, he's got a big advantage or something, well, how's he going to dodge? You can just shoot into the mass of units and it's going to hit something. So it's almost like it's an anti-snowball effect mechanic, and that's one of the things I love about it, because sometimes, in any game, it can be very snowbally, and somebody can, from a tiny advantage early on, can just totally win. So I like that about this.
We did have some complaints last year about the prominence of turtling strategies, which involved a dense cluster of robots all in one spot, so we will see if this manages to dissuade people from making an infinite number of soldiers and just piling them on top of each other. You can shoot bullets in different ways. Sometimes you can shoot 3 bullets at once, going off at angles from each other. You can even shoot 5 bullets at once, going off at different angles from each other, if you really want that much firepower. Collisions are detected based on the bullet hitting the first thing it hits, and again, you do not need to hit the center of your robot. You will hit just anything within the radius of the robot. If you're hit, your hit. Doesn't matter if it's a glancing blow or if it strikes you in the heart. Robots don't have hearts.
And that was primarily the reason for that implementation.
We're going for realism here, people.
Yeah.
So, an overview of this year's units. We have a less variety of combat units this year. As always, we have our ever-present Archon, which is your beginning unit and sort of your HQ. It's basically the most important unit, and you cannot make more of them, so you've got to preserve them. You'll start with anywhere between 1 and 3 placed in various places on the maps. Your Archons are defenseless, but they construct gardeners, which are the units which construct other units. So that's fairly important. They also have a high byte code limit, which means your Archon can do a significant amount of computation compared to others. Gardeners are a unique unit for this year. We've never had these before. They are your eco-warriors. They're the ones who will be both planting and taking care of trees. They have the ability to build other units as well, save for Archons or gardeners. Soldiers are going to be your basic combat unit. They're pretty standard to what you expect. They can fire bullets. I'm not sure what you expected here.
I got a question over here in the front.
Sorry, do bullets have a range?
They do not. They just go and go until they hit something or go to the edge of the map. Oh, more questions? You there?
Do bullets collide?
No, they don't collide with one another. What's that? Yeah, there was. Which question in Twitch chat?
Oh, we were asked if bullets have a range.
Well, oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, okay, I see. Because they can't hear over there.
No.
Okay.
We were asked if bullets have a range. Bullets do not have a range. They keep going till they hit something or the end of the map. We were also... What were we asked?
What was that other question there? I already forgot. Oh, yeah, do bullets collide with one another? No, they don't.
No.
No, they don't. And this person?
If a bullet is shot in the direction the robot is traveling, will it move faster?
No. The bullets move at the same... It's almost like the speed of light. It's a constant. Only in this case... Wait a minute. Am I wrong about the speed of light in that case?
No, that's inaccurate.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm very bad at relativistic physics.
No.
But, so in this case, yeah.
Yeah, the laws of this game universe are bounded by the speed of bullets.
But not all the speeds of bullets are the same.
That's true.
So it's not like the speed of light.
It's like
Okay, so it's like the speed of light, but not, if that helps.
No, not all bullets have the same speed properties.
So some units fire bullets faster than others, but it doesn't matter if you're like running and shooting or running backward and shooting. The bullet will still move at the same rate relative to the game world.
Okay.
Anyway, you'll see. I don't have to explain this.
All these specs will be available once the game goes live. So again, and you'll have the ability to ask us any questions on our forums, on IRC. We will be clarifying as best we can. So besides the soldier, if you want extreme firepower, you have the option to build tanks, which are more expensive, of course. They're slow, but they can attack with the amazing 5 bullets at once attack, and they can also damage things by just running straight into them, which is... Yes?
It looks like they both have intense shots. Does that mean that the tanks ones just do more damage?
Tanks fire more powerful bullets.
And you'll see it in the table that's coming up.
We will show you the table of data for each of these units, but tanks do more damage with their firepower. We also have scouts, because we could not have this game without scouts ever. Scouts are zippy units that can't do much damage at all, but they can fly over trees, so they don't have to worry about navigating around things. And last we have another unique unit, which is going to be the lumberjack. The lumberjack is the opposite of your eco-warrior. The lumberjack is trying to pave over everything and create a mall. They can chop down trees and destroy the environment if you so choose. And they can do damage to other units by using a strike movement. Right.
So there are melee units this year.
Yes, we are trying again for melee units, which seems a little bit strange in a bullet hell scenario, but we will see if you can come up with a creative strategy to use these.
Yeah, maybe there ought to be like a secret prize for people who only use melee units, like only run over things with the tank and only hit things with the lumberjack, just to spite us for doing a bullet hell this year. Question up there.
Actually, the question is about very two things. It said that you can chop down trees with like the chop, and you can try to run over a tree with the run over. Can you do these to other enemies as well? Can you chop enemies and can you run over enemies?
You cannot chop down an enemy robot.
You
can strike it with
though.
a melee strike, which does damage to it.
So it's a different method.
And in case this isn't clear, you can also shoot down a tree. Trees have HP and will take damage when hit by a bullet. No.
So the question was, can scouts occupy the same space as other robots? and it's going to the panel of judges over there.
Is it scouts?
Scouts, other robots.
Scouts, no.
No,
Scouts can overlap with trees, but not with other robots.
All right, we'll take one more question, but then we got to move on.
yeah, well,
Can tanks run over things other than trees? Can
No.
they-
Sorry.
Can tanks run over things other than trees?
no.
Only trees are affected by tank body attack.
Only trees are affected by tank body attack.
Again, if you're new to battle code, we do balancing updates as the month goes on, so some things might be subject to change, but this is the current state of the game. All right, what time is it? Oh, we have time. So, movement. This is pretty straightforward. In a continuous space universe, you can pick a direction, or you can pick a location which is within the radius of distance that you're able to move that turn, and you will go there. But of course, robots will have a particular stride, which limits how far they can go per turn, so they can't zip all the way across the map. Bullets are going to be pretty much your primary resource, besides victory points, which are solely used to win the game. So you use your bullets to plant trees. Yes, bullets are tree seeds.
Can you believe how useful these things are?
You use your bullets to build other units. Use your bullets to buy victory points to win, and you also fire your bullets at people. So you will frequently be given the choice of, do I want to do maximum damage to the enemy team, or do I want to plant trees? You gain some bullets passively per round, and you also can farm bullets from trees.
Wow.
Trees are planted using bullets, and trees will give you a crop yield of bullets, which can be harvested by any robot that's adjacent to a tree and uses the shake move. Shake the tree, bullets come out. So money doesn't grow on trees, but bullets do.
And we're pretty sure that's how actual farming works. We researched it, okay?
None of us have ever, been out on a farm, but we're pretty sure.
Wait, once you shake a neutral tree and you get bullets from it, will you not be able to get more bullets from it? Or can you continuously shake the same tree for...
It was only once. So neutral trees are the ones that start on the map.
So for Twitch
Those are the only ones that
chat,
you
the
rotate
question
from.
was,
You only get them once.
if you harvest bullets from a neutral tree, can you get it multiple times? And the answer is only once.
Neutral trees are like pre-existing resources on the map. They're finite. This is not true for trees that you planted yourself. So, neutral trees also can take damage, etc. However, they do not require watering. They're wild. They have learned to flourish without cultivation. They will vanish once their HP hits 0. However, you can plant more trees.
Does that mean bullets are asexual if they don't need to be pollinated?
It's like the cows. It's the same as the cows.
Oh, they just appear.
Yes.
Okay. That's a relief. I don't want to get into all that.
Okay, so you can plant trees if you want to increase your bullet income. Only your gardeners can do this. The trees have a radius. They have a place on the map. They can be... they cost 50 bullets to plant. After that, the tree actually has a period of time where it needs to actually mature before it's able to start giving bullets. They can also take damage during the period where they're maturing. And they can be watered by gardeners so that this will increase their health. So you can try to keep your trees alive by continually healing them and maintaining a decent garden of trees that you have an income of bullets, which you can then use on your enemy.
It's so cool. You can use these trees both as like an econ move. So you can distribute your bullets toward shooting the enemy, an econ investment, or victory points. It's like almost a classic RTS decision tree. It's so exciting.
Farm trees don't do that well on their own. They will wither naturally, even if they're not hit by bullets. So they do need to be tended to by your gardeners. You have to be watering them to keep them alive. But after they reach their period of maturity, then they will start producing bullets, which you can gather.
I think somebody on the Twitch chat asked, can you water the trees while they are maturing? And I think the answer is...
You can, but it does not make them mature faster.
Okay, yeah.
They won't mature faster, but you still have to keep them alive during this time period. If they die, then it was a wasted investment, basically. So you probably want to tend to your investment and make it worthwhile. So unit production chain is very simple this year. Your Archons produce your gardeners, or hire them. You hire the gardeners. And your gardeners will produce all other units from bullets. Units take time. They have to be constructed in an area, so there needs to be an adjacent place where they're being constructed. And they start out at lower health and take time to actually go up to 100% health, after which point they will start running code and moving. They can, again, just like trees, take damage and die during the maturation period. So if that happens, then you've wasted your investment. So you want to make sure that when you're building either units or trees, you put them in a place where they're safe from the flying bullets everywhere.
So somebody asked on the Twitch chat, bullets are stored in one reserve for your team and don't have to be distributed. And that's correct.
That is correct. You do not need to worry about your gardeners bringing the bullets back to the Archon. Your bullets are accessible by everyone. Yes?
Do gardeners cost bullets to hire, or no?
Yes. Gardeners cost bullets to hire, and you also can only hire one gardener every, I think it was 20 turns, but I might be wrong. So your gardener production is limited. Oh, they can only be made by Archons.
Is there a way to regenerate robot health if they've been damaged?
No. Robots are stuck. Once you have built a robot, it just needs to dodge bullets, and when it gets hit by too many bullets, it is done. Your trees you can save, your robots you cannot. So special moves, we briefly went over these before, but lumberjacks have the ability to use a melee strike, which hits robots which are within range. Tanks can try to damage trees by attempting to move onto them. That is pretty much it for special attacks. Mostly you'll be dodging bullets, which may or may not be fun.
I think part of what's fun about this whole bullet mechanic is that a special attack can be all of your dudes lining up next to one another and shooting at the same time. Or they all line up and like they get in a line, like a firing line, almost like in the American Civil War. And then maybe they all shoot 3 or 5. And then the enemy couldn't dodge it. It would be amazing.
Yeah, the trick is going to be finding ways to fire at your enemies so that they do not have the ability to dodge no matter which direction they go in. Because, as we'll get to in a minute, we have the ability to sense when bullets are coming at you and get out of the way.
But let's say we wanted a bunch of our dudes to line up and shoot the enemy. We would need signaling. What a segue!
Right? Because your robots don't know what the other robots are doing. So, you need to find some way to make sure that they are in the correct formation, and they can't just, all be commanded by the same code. They've got to each do this individually. So your signaling is pretty simple. You have an array of integers that's yours. Unlike in some previous years, your enemy doesn't have the ability to read your array, so that's all private. And robots can write to it. Each individual robot can write to the array. The one downside is, in the process of writing to the array, you give away your location to enemy robots. Anyone can sense the location of all robots, both yours and the enemy, that are currently signaling to their array. So it gives away the location of the robot currently broadcasting, but the information that is being broadcasted is secure.
So that's kind of cool. That's like you can use radio communication as necessary in some parts of your army, and then maybe another part is like the secret commando unit, and they don't talk on the radio, and they only communicate to one another by stepping onto correct locations of the ground, which, according to all the decimal digits of precision, communicate the message that they want to send. Oh my God! What a technique! What a strategy! I can't believe that I'm giving it away just like that. It's like the dance of the honeybees, right? It
is a little bit.
They don't talk with their words. They talk by moving left and right.
This is true. So if you want
Another true science fact about farming.
If you want to launch some kind of a stealth attack, it would probably be in your best interest to avoid signaling. On the other hand, if you've got a bunch of scouts and you want to distract the enemy on a wild goose chase, then you could signal like crazy without really saying anything useful and just lead them away. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. I see a hand.
Does reading a broadcast also reveal location?
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not. Reading broadcast does not reveal your location, only writing broadcasts. Vision. Vision this year, robots have the ability to sense any objects that intersect with their sight range, which is going to be defined by another radius outside of their body radius. So more circles. I like circles. Anything that's within the circle, they can sense, and this will include both enemies and friendly units and trees, etc.
Yeah.
Yes. So
the question was, are you able to sense bullets? And the answer was, there's actually a separate sight radius for sensing enemy robots and sensing bullets.
Yes, so you have the ability to, you'll have a radius for sensing robots, you'll have a radius for sensing bullets. It's larger than your radius for sensing other enemy robots, which is useful because you want to be able to dodge things that are moving at you at high speeds. So you'll have the ability to check and see if you're in danger, and then from there you'll have to figure out where you can possibly move to avoid being hit by this incoming projectile, which is also tricky because maybe your fellow robots are blocking your path, that sort of thing. If you're all in one place, then you're too squeezed into a spot to move.
Yeah, it's like that typical situation, you know, in like an FPS game or whatever. It's like, get out, I'm trying to shoot here. Except the reverse, where you're being shot at. Great example, Max.
Very good example. And victory points are about as straightforward as you can. You can basically buy them using bullets, or you're donating your bullets to the good of reforestation.
We had a question online. Somebody asked, are bullets only shot in a horizontal line? No, they're actually, you can shoot it in any direction.
Yeah, you have the ability to choose any direction defined by angle, etc. You can fire off, you know, diagonal, horizontal, 75 degrees above north, you know, anything that you want.
If you shoot 3 or 5, are they at fixed angles to each other, or can you define all 3 of them separately?
They are at fixed angles to each other. So if you shoot 3, then they're, I believe it was 20 degrees?
It's something like a 20 degrees
Yeah,
between
20
each one at
degrees.
3 and 15 degrees between each one at 5.
But you can choose the direction that that array is facing. So again, what time is it?
Yeah, back there.
Yeah, 7:30.
Question about sensing and signal.
Yeah.
If a robot sees a bullet with its eye holes, can a different robot know where that bullet is without them signaling to each other?
This year, I don't believe so. In past years, it has been true that that you had team shared vision, which
No
is what we
shared
called
vision
that.
this year.
But this year, I believe there's no team shared vision, so you'll have to send that information via the message array.
Every robot for himself, or every robot that knows how to communicate with his teammates is better off than the other robots.
So for people online, the question related to that was, you go ahead.
And so besides that,
Is there team shared vision?
if you get 1,000 victory points, then you automatically win. If you get 1,000 victory points first. Or alternately, if you destroy all the enemy team robots, that's your other way to win. We do have some tiebreakers. In the off chance that you don't end up with both teams, one team either has to destroy all the other enemy robots or reach 1,000 victory points. If this doesn't happen by a finite end time, which we'll have predefined, then you will have a tiebreaker that determines who is the winner. And the first order tiebreaker is going to be the victory points. So if one team had 999, the other team didn't, even though they didn't reach 1,000, they'll still be the winner so long as they had more at the end of the game. After that, if your victory points happen to be exactly the same, it will be the number of active trees that you're currently farming, so not dead trees that are yours. If you happen to have the same victory points and the same number of trees, then it'll be highest number of bullets plus the total bullet value, all of your live robots.
And if we can't decide by then we'll just pick at random.
Yeah, but this has never happened, I think.
And it never will,
Never
statistically
will.
speaking.
So I wouldn't worry about that last one.
If you want to know how many rounds there are left, we have a method provided, so that's not a random thing. You'll know when the round is going to end by querying clock.getRoundNum or something like that.
So if neither team has reached 1,000 victory points, it may be in your interest to try to cash in all of your bullets for victory points right before the end of the game.
Yeah.
Do dead trees still have health and take up space in...
No. When trees die, they disappear off the map, just like regular units. Okay, let's talk a little bit about robots. Here are our lovely sprites for this year. You can see our gardener has a nice straw brim hat on, just so that you can tell that he's a gardener. Our scout's a little airplane. Our lumberjack has really cool blade arms. Looks like something out of a dystopia. He's great.
Why can't I have blade arms?
So these are what our units look like. You can see some basic data on their body radius, their stride range, etc., their attack power.
There's no need to write this down.
Yeah,
because
don't take notes. This will all be online.
it'll be online, and we're probably going to change it because, you know, like any good game developers, we didn't bother playtesting or balancing the game at all ahead of time. So you can count on you guys being the playtesters, which means that probably for the sprint tournament, which is the first tournament that takes place in about 1 week from now, you can probably find some horrendous exploit, and one unit will be much better than the others or whatever, and then you can totally wreck everybody.
Not to bad talk the strategy of finding horrendous exploits, though. We have a lot of appreciation here at Battlecode for horrendous exploits, and if you discover them, some people in the past have even won special awards dedicated to their really horrific exploits. So, it's like, it's a worthwhile thing to pursue if you think you found something.
Tell us, though.
Yeah, tell if it's utterly game breaking, though.
You'll be picked out of the competition.
Yeah.
If you tell us, you'll be like rewarded.
Okay.
Showered with love.
Yeah, so we're talking about like game-breaking exploits, not like one unit is better kind of advantage. If you do find an exploit, like you can escape the sandbox, or you can download a website and then display an MPEG file to your opponent, or something like that, then you want to let us know. And we have I don't think we've mentioned yet, but we have so many ways for you guys to contact us. You don't just have to email us on battlecode@mit.edu. You can also contact. I know this is kind of in the middle, but it's good to know, and it's apropos. It's on topic.
Okay.
So you can meet us on the forums. You can meet us on the IRC chat. We're almost always there. There's the Twitch live stream. I might do some like Twitch, Let's Plays or something. And then there's the website. There's everything. There's so many ways to talk to us.
So you have multiple different forms of media. Take your pick. We will try to be as active and responsive as we can.
But your friends are your number one go-to if you've got questions or whatever. Because that's how you're gonna have the most fun, by bothering the people next to you.
That's what teammates are for, waking them up at 3 a.m. in the morning to discuss the change in pathing, which
how to install Battlecode Pliz.
did happen to me. we give you instructions for that one, on record. So this covers most of our information. There's some more technical details. How much time do you think you're going to need to go through installation? 20 minutes? How much time have we got?
That's about now. So
That's about now.
I mean, there are some more details that you can read on the specs.
This is all available on the specs. You can ask us for questions if anything is unclear. I will be happy to clarify.
But what usually bogs people down is first reading through this massive specs document, and second, actually installing Battlecode on your computer, because it's not as simple as just a simple double click. So that's why we wanted to go through an example right here in lecture, so you'll know exactly which buttons to push.
So we have our professional button pusher right here, who's kindly volunteered. Introduce yourself.
So this is James. He's another one of the devs. We got a big crew this year.
Yeah, I'm a professional button pusher. I push buttons in my spare time, and as a professional, it's really fun.
Imagine the dedication that it takes for a person to push.
Just sitting at my desk, like pushing one of those big staples that was easy buttons for hours. It's great. Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how to get Battlecode set up. It's supposed to not be too hard, so bear with me if it turns out to actually be really hard.
If it does, then the worst part is not that you're going to sit here while he tries to make it work, but that I'm going to try and tell jokes during that period. That is the worst part.
All right. So in past years, we've had a scaffold, which is a project that you download, and it has everything you need to run Battlecode. That's how Battlecode is going to work this year, too. You can find the Battlecode scaffold at github.com/Battlecode. Oh, this keyboard is terrible. /Battlecode scaffold. There's also a link on the website. What? Oh, 2017. Oops.
Anyway, you can go to the website and there'll be a link.
Go to the
where you
website.
download
Go to
this.
thebattlecode.org and it'll tell you where to download this thing.
But don't do it now because we haven't released it yet. Isn't that right?
We have?
We have released it.
I think it's live.
Well, the game is live, so you might as well not even pay attention to us. Go ahead.
Yeah. Also, if you're in the lecture room right now, please don't set this up yet because some of the downloads are fairly big and you'll just kill the Wi-Fi and then the stream will stop and it'll just be bad. So wait a little while. So to set up the scaffold, there's a big README file, and if you read that file, it'll tell you everything you need to know. If you have a question, check the README file first. If the README file doesn't answer your question, you should again ask IRC or ask the forums. They're very helpful places. So first, you're going to want to download a copy of the scaffold. I've already done that. So is this the right version? I think so. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to download the scaffold, and it's going to look like this. There's a source directory. In the source directory, you put your source code for your robots. There's a test directory. In the test directory, you put the test code for your robots. If you write tests, not many people write tests, but like if you do, good for you. That makes you a good programmer.
That means if some of you may be totally new to programming, the tests are like if you make a small change somewhere and you push save, then you can have an automated way of testing to see if that breaks other parts of the code. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. So first you're going to want to install Java. Java, there's a big link right here that gives you a bunch of downloads. You need Java Development Kit 8 from Oracle. If you don't use that, it won't work. I'm not going to install Java because it's very big and takes a long time, but it's here. And if you're on Linux, it's slightly harder to install, but like you're on Linux, so you can figure it out.
Well said.
Yeah. So after you install Java, so we support 3 different ways of working on Battlecode. You can do it from the command line and just edit the files in whatever text editor you want. That's fine. You can use IntelliJ, IDEA, and you can use Eclipse. As officially, we have no stance as to which of these you use. It's your tools. You can do whatever you want. But like as individuals, we all strongly recommend IntelliJ because it's really nice.
Though that said, you could use Microsoft Notepad and it would be fine.
Like, we wouldn't penalize you. You'll just have a worse experience. Yeah. It's not open source, but like we all sell our souls to corporations eventually. Want to hear about our sponsors? Actually, okay, so I'm going to go through setting up IntelliJ first. So I've got this downloaded folder. It's here in this path. You can download it wherever you want. It'll just work.
And then what do you do with the folder?
What do you do with the folder? Well, there's this file in here called build.gradle, and that is a little file that tells you how to do everything in this project, or tells a piece of software called Gradle how to build the project, how to run your matches, everything like that. So I'm going to set this up with IntelliJ first. So with IntelliJ, you're going to want to install it first. There's links in the README. And then you start it up. You get a screen like this. It's very nice. It's very elegant. Like, look how attractive this is. Don't you want to use this piece of software? You're going to do import project, and then go down to that folder you downloaded the thing to, click on build.gradle, which is the build file, and hit OK. What the hell? Okay. You're going to want to wait. There's something missing here.
What's missing?
Do you have a JDK installed? Well, we're going to do Eclipse. All right. So this is the right directory?
One of the nice things about doing Battlecode is that you have so much support resources, and we're going to serve you dinner in just a few moments. And after that, if you want to stick around, you can ask us how to get it set up on your computer or whatever. You know, you can always stick around after lecture. I don't think anybody else has the room reserved, and ask us questions or ask other contestants questions. And it's amazing, you know, even though this is a competition and helping your friends actually hurts you in that sense, people still are so willing to help, and you should ask them for help when you need it.
All right. So to import it into Eclipse, which I just closed. I'm sorry, we're almost there. You'll have the best. If you are using Eclipse, you should use the latest version, Neon 2. It'll just be better. So set up an empty workspace in Eclipse. I've got one here. This is empty, right? Battlecode 2. 1 second. Yeah, got it. Okay. So Eclipse has a thing called the workspace, which is just where it sets up your projects. Just make that in an empty directory. And then you're going to want to do, as soon as it loads,
one of the great things about using Eclipse or these other editors is that you can type an object and then a dot, and then it'll tell you all the little methods and properties and stuff, coding stuff, that comes with the object. It's like this autocomplete feature, and it makes the world of difference. I swear.
So I'm going to import my Gradle build into Eclipse. I'm going to I made a workspace, and I'm going to do File, Import, Gradle project. If you don't see that, there's a thing you need to install, which is in the README. Yeah, okay. Now I'm going to select this, and it will work. All right, so
the point is that this scaffold helps you start your project. It helps you set up whatever IDE you end up choosing to use by having a bunch of settings and stuff already built into it. So if you make a change in your IDE, it's going to make those changes as well in your file system, so everything's synchronized and put together. In one of our lectures, we're going to talk about how to work together in a team using version control software if you haven't done that before, and that may be your ticket to having a better than Dropbox experience during battle code.
And
for example, we devs, we all use GitHub to share information and to together work on the same piece of code. It's like, it's amazing to get 7 or more people together. I don't even know how many of us there are together working on the same.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
It's wonderful. I love programming. Programming is awesome. I love when you're programming something and then something doesn't work. That's my favorite part of programming. Okay.
Some of the magic does go away over time.
All right, yeah, you have to give this a while. It has it is going to take a while to download stuff. We do have some fairly big dependencies this year. If you care about web development, we're using Electron for the client, which is pretty cool. I mean, you know, if you don't care about that, then whatever. It's also 100 megabytes though, so you know, you have to give it a while.
So yeah, you might notice this year we've got a totally new and improved client. The client is now web-based, which is a big difference
it's not.
from before.
It's sort of web-based. Like you can run it like a normal application, but it secretly is web-based.
It's secretly web-based, which is a serious improvement over previously.
Where it was like Java.
Yeah, it was sort of a Java QuickTime
yeah
kind of app, but now it sort of has the potential to become more web integrated.
Yeah,
and it can even be run directly from for viewing match files on our website, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. So now now we have everything set up. So so here's our project in Eclipse. We can look at example funcs player, which is the name of the default player we provide you, and we will see as soon as it loads that it looks great. And then I'm going to run the client, and you'll be like, "Wow, look at that! That's really pretty." Yeah. So here's some code. You'll browse this as soon as you download the file. It's pretty great. So
now some people might be totally new to this. The window he was just showing is the window that you spend 98% of your time looking at, because that's where you type in the code that you write that makes you win the competition and win $50,000 and 6 units of course credit.
Yep. Well, not everyone wins $50,000, unfortunately. We don't have quite that much money.
That's a shame. But your EV of participating is quite high. Expected value. Did you see that? I used a probability term without defining it.
Okay.
That shows that I'm smart.
Great. Okay. So so now that I'm downloaded, I just want to make sure everything works. So I'm going to run the Gradle build task here. You'll see this window, Gradle tasks. This is just like tells it to run stuff from the build file. You'll want to do most of your stuff from here. So I'm going to run build.
There's going to be more examples of this later. We'll go through it. If an idiot like me can figure it out, then you guys can do it too for no problem, sure.
Yeah. So now it's going to download a very large file, which is the client, and that'll take a little bit longer. And then I can show you it as soon as it downloads.
So this is downloading all the stuff needed for it to show the match.
You don't have to install anything aside from Java and whatever tool you want. Gradle will just work for you. And we'll go into this in more detail tomorrow because it's almost time for food.
Well, we'll go into it in more detail, but we're not going to deprive you of the client view, which is going to show the first battle code match that you've ever seen. Am I right?
Yeah, it's going to be great. As soon as it happens, I'm so sorry.
I mean, sometimes it's good to show people things like the exciting future of Battlecode, an example match, this kind of stuff. It's good to show them at the beginning, but other times it's good to hold off until the end as like a special surprise, exciting point surprise happen.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Gradle to download, let's talk about Gradle. Have you ever, if you've never used a build tool, then good for you, and I hope you continue on that path in your life.
I think you can see how the past few days have affected this man.
I have gotten 5 hours of sleep every day the past week, and I've been coding pretty much all day straight. It's been fun. There we go. See that? Look, it's doing stuff. We're getting there. There we go. All right, so see all these things are green? That's good. That means that the things that we installed work. If they're not green, you should ask for help on IRC or the forums. Now it is unpacking the client, and as soon as it's done with that, okay, cool. So once we've run build, it will have downloaded all the stuff we need to be able to run Battlecode matches. So there's going to be this little folder that's going to show up in Battlecode Scaffold called Client. I'm going to run the big thing that says Battlecode Client. If you see that icon looks suspiciously like the icon of a project called Electron, you should ignore that because it's going to change tomorrow. So there we go. Yeah,
that's the client.
This is where you clap.
Amazing.
Yeah, look, it's pretty. All right.
So the way this works is you open the client and then you use the client to view match files generated by the server.
Wait a second.
So when you want, we're gonna have more examples later, so don't worry if it's confusing. But you use the Battlecode Scaffold project to run the match, together with which teams are playing and which map and so on, and then that creates a file.
Right.
And then you load that with the client.
Yeah, so I'm going to, you can also run things directly from the client, but it doesn't always work just yet, so you'll see that tomorrow. Today I'm just going to run, if we do Gradle run, it'll run a match between two robots, and we can see, hey look, here's some robots doing stuff.
So those are those system.out.println style comments that you would put in your code.
Yes. There we go. So now, in the client, I'm going to say, load a match file that I've run. Hooray, we're almost there.
It's characters.
And then, oh wait, did it load?
I see something.
Oh, it just worked.
There's people.
Oh, yeah, okay. Here we go. It didn't work.
Is there no play button? No, it's on pause right now.
Oh, it is it?
Is that, you put the pause button and then it plays?
Wait a second.
All right,
oh
we'll
my
load
God.
it again. How's the status of the pizza? Do you want to try call them? The pizza is under control.
Pizza is incoming.
We're not unclear about what. One time, let me tell you a story. Last year, no, it might have been several years ago, I promised everybody a burrito from Chipotle.
There we go.
Yay!
There it is. Hooray. All right, this is what the match looks like. Here are your archons. Here's your tree. Here's all the counts of the units you've got in your thing. Here's the counts of bullets on each team and the victory points. I can also be like, this part of the match is pretty boring. I want to fast forward to where something interesting happens. And so, there's our lumberjacks going around. Here, this is what matches look like. If you have questions about how the client works, you can click this handy little help button, and it will tell you how to do everything in the client. If you want to make maps, you can click the map editor button, and it'll show you a map editor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We're going to have competitions of who can make the best map in the forums. Yeah.
That is cool.
What?
How smart is the default player?
It's terrible.
Another question in the front, and then I'm just going to say some closing remarks.
Are the maps generally this size?
The maps are between 30 units and 80 units in size. This is a small one.
How many units?
What? A unit, each guy is like one unit about, or one or two. Archons are bigger. I can also press B if I want to see, that's the wrong button. I can also press some button to see circles behind the C. So now I can see the circles that the units actually take up if I want.
So we got the hitbox view.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just close up with a couple of administrative pieces of information that you might need to know. If you're taking MIT Battlecode 6147 for class credit, that's 6 units of credit, and the way that you get that credit is by defeating our reference player. It's not released yet because, of course, we've hardly made the game work just now. So we're going to produce the reference player, and you have to defeat it on a series of maps that we publish on the website. It's not on your local machine. We don't have a view of your machine. So you'll upload your player to our website. That's how you scrimmage against other players and get better, and how you have fun. And that's also the way that you beat the reference player. So we'll have more information about that, but that's how you win. You don't have to show up to any of these lectures. They're all available on Twitch, but then you don't get the food, and then you don't get the fun, and the audio quality might not be as good. And I think that basically does it. If you want to just hang around, it sounds like maybe pizza is arriving soon.
Also, if you are here in the flesh, we're going to be hanging around here for an hour after lecture if you need help getting stuff installed or fixing bugs.
So anyway, thank you very much, and good luck with this year's Battle Code.